the most important thing in my life at this point is being a father. And so getting to be with a family and other kids and just play with them and just see the parents look on their face when they look at their child is the same one I have when I look at mine. It's just, that's the most powerful thing I could ever document.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Photo Country. Today we have a remarkable guest joining us, Joshua Shelton, a talented photographer with a wealth of experience in both still photography and television production. Joshua has traveled extensively for his projects, capturing everything from family portraits to reality TV adventures. In this episode, we'll delve into Joshua's unique journey, his creative process, and his exciting plans for the future. I need to mention MagicMind here. They reached out to me some time back to try out their drink. It's the world's first mental performance shot and they have a 7-day challenge. So basically I have to try out this drink for 7 days and sort of experience how it impacts my life. And let me tell you, it's been magical. The mission of MagicMind is to make me or people like me more efficient while also allowing me to have a fun, productive day. MagicMind has nootropics, adaptogens, turmeric, and a lot of other natural products, and it's 100% safe. After using it for a week, I can tell you it has definitely made me more efficient and more productive, and the number of coffees I usually drink has drastically gone down. And what I really like about MagicMind is that it's 100% carbon neutral. Right now, you have a limited time offer where you can get up to 48% of your first subscription or 20% of your one-time purchase if you use the code Rajeev20. And they ship internationally up to 65 countries all across the world. You can claim it at magicmind.com/photocountry. I'll put those links in the show notes. So guys, try out MagicMind. Take it from me. It really works. So sit back, relax, and let's dive into the world of photography with Joshua Shelton. Hey Joshua, thanks for accepting the invite and coming on the podcast. Great to have you on it.
Rajeev. This is exciting, man. This is
Awesome.
cool.
Awesome. So have you been on podcasts before or is this your first?
I've been on a few. So my buddies in Pensacola have one called Some People Suck, where it's just a bunch of guys shooting shit. And then there's a guy, Travis Patterson. He's an audio guy and photographer. I've worked with him a lot on different shows and stuff. And he has a Creatives Coming Together where he interviews local Pensacola artists of all varieties. So I've done a few, not a whole lot, but
Okay.
I think this is number 4, I think.
Okay. The post that actually prompted me to connect with you was your Hello Stranger series. So that sort of popped up on my feed. So basically, I've been on this journey of sharing interesting things that pop up on my feed and just randomly sharing stories from things that really interest me in photography. That's been what I've been doing for the past a few weeks. So that's when your feed popped up and that's when I posted saying, hey, send me one.
Yeah. Oh, you did? Yeah, you did. Yeah, if I can, I want to eventually go abroad, but I also have to figure out the complications of New Zealand. That's easy. You speak the same language, but trying to pull addresses and write it down properly for, let's say, India or something like that. Like I was looking, I was like, I got to do the 50 states first, and then I will figure out how to move forward into the world.
Yeah, how did you get into this? How did this series start? Can you tell me how you got into this thing?
It's an unsatisfactory answer, I guess, because I was just laying down with my wife and I was about to fall asleep. And it just popped in my head where I was like, what I say in the beginning, I have way too many 4x6s. I was thinking about it and I was like, what do I do with them? I was like, they've been sitting there for some of them for 8 years. What do I do with them? And I was like, I wonder if anyone just mails stuff to people. And so I looked it up and I couldn't really find many projects where someone was just mailing their art randomly out into the world. And so I just was like, if that's a good idea, I wrote it down. I was like, if that's a good idea, I'll do it in the morning. And then I woke up and I was like, that's a good idea. Let's give that a shot. And so I just started, I yanked out all my prints that have just been sitting in my wife's office closet and had her start throwing them on me. And one was like, okay, let's have some fun with this and then figure out just how to do this. And so got some the cellophane to send them in because I was like, if I send them in just a paper envelope, the chances skyrocket for them to just throw them away. So I was like, okay, so if we get cellophane, now they can see the back of it. So hopefully it piques enough interest for them to hopefully at least open it. And I thought it'd be cool. Who knows what can happen if I just start sending stuff to people? The worst thing that can happen, hopefully, is they smile.
Have you received any feedback?
Not yet. I'm waiting, man. I'm still waiting. It's only day 11, but like the first one probably hit someone's doorstep only 5 or 6 days ago. I have a feeling that I'm hoping by day 50, I'm like, one person in the States has to open this thing. Yeah. And I had a buddy who sent me stamps, so I shot him a print to move the progress along, and he's in Pensacola. Tested it, sent it through him, the cellophane, everything worked fine. So I know they're getting to people. Now it's just waiting until somebody opens it.
Yeah, because chances of people printing photographs is not many people print their photographs, number one, and not many people actually send photographs to other people as well.
We get so much media on our phone.
Right.
There's so much of it. And it's just going and going, and it's going to go forever. We already live in the future. The universe is going to keep expanding. The cyber universe is going to keep expanding. So that's just going to keep happening forever. But if I can, just the thought that someone like just may get something that they can hold and feel and touch and look at for a second. And I just hope that what I hope I do on social media, I hope that sparks extra with somebody that just gets to hold it. A connection with some other human on this planet that we're connected now, right? And hopefully for better. I hope that whatever it is inspires them. When I don't know where I was going with that.
It suddenly worked because I got in touch with you all across.
Yeah, that's so insane. That's so insane, man. Like the world we live in now, where I just have this idea in Milton, Florida, population 10,000, with like nothing, slow town, and that can go all the way to you over there, and it's just incredible.
Yes, I think it is. It's pretty incredible. Yeah, and how did you get into photography in the first place?
I got my start in high school with the camera. Growing up, I really wanted to be an actor or something like that. Loved Jim Carrey. So I joined drama in the TV broadcast program we had at school. We did a 10-minute news show and then shot commercials for the local clubs and stuff like that. And then we each would get almost like a thesis where we could shoot like a 10-minute feature with using just the tools we had. And I got in, I wanted to be in front of the camera. And then I finally had a project where I had to pick it up. And then it was just, I was like, I don't need to be in front of that thing. I want to be behind it. And so it started there. I went to Florida State, shot football, Florida State football, baseball, soccer, stuff like that. Video. They ran to the feed to the Jumbotron and then ESPN sometimes. And so it was doing live camera. And then I got my first DSLR my senior year when I graduated. And when I picked it up, I'd already fallen in love with moving picture and capturing video. And then once I got that little T3i, it really shifted my focus where what I love are stills. That's where I found that love for stills.
And how long have you been doing this?
Oh, first time I had a camera in my hand, if we're counting all the way back, I was 15 and 17 years. Video and then photography would have been 2013. So 11 years, I guess you could say.
And the gig that you run right now, Shelton Pictures, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So how is it based in Milton, Florida? Or
yeah. I work in television. That's been my main gig.
Right.
And so now I've always had, it used to be called Probably Photography, changed the name just to make it a little bit more family friendly and less like wild artist for my small community. So I just started that. And now I'm starting to focus on moving more towards family photography, more local work, because I've been on the road for, like 6 years now. I have a 4-year-old. I'm tired. I'm tired of being a pirate. So I'm just trying to create this just nice, simple space in my local community and just focus more on just family clients, weddings, and stuff like that.
Because I really like the kids stuff that you have, especially some of the
thank you.
reels that I saw where you're running around with the kids. It sounds like a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah.
It comes out in the images as well.
The most important thing in my life at this point is being a father. And so getting to be with a family and other kids and just play with them and just see the parents' look on their face when they look at their child is the same one I have when I look at mine. It's just, that's the most powerful thing I could ever document, I think. No, all the cool stuff I've seen in my life, nothing comes down, nothing beats just like a family just playing and enjoying and having time.
You said you've been on the road for quite some time. What do you do? Do you follow like bands and teams?
So I actually work in television, do a lot of reality work. So I've worked on things as random as people making moonshine, to a very large religious family of 10, to being in Alaska up in the above the Arctic Circle, following a guy hunting caribou. So I've just gone wherever the story's taken me, and the people I've met through television crew work, and just hopped along from thing to thing.
So it's basically being like the cinematographer or the guy operating the camera.
Oh,
Is that the way it is?
I have been a camera operator. I've done a lot of assistant camera work. So for production, even if you're in like small crew, you're usually going to have in the camera department, director of photography, head honcho. He's telling you how he wants it to look, how he wants it to be lit, blah, 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 blah. In reality, he's usually a camera operator, B camera operator, sometimes C camera operator, and then assistant camera, which is a job I've done a lot of. And actually what I really love to do on the road. Those cameras are heavy. I would much rather make sure it works. So I swap the lenses. I keep everything clean, battery management, all of that stuff. I'm making sure all the inner workings of the camera are going smoothly and that the media is properly formatted however the production company wants with the metadata and stuff like that, and then transferring that to our media manager. So I've done that, and then camera operator as well.
And do you much prefer to run your own gig like you're doing now than doing that?
I loved that part of my life, and I'll still take those gigs if they come up, man. Like I gripped the other day, loved it. Like just moving stands around, making sure light was sitting the way it was supposed to be while someone else had to have the vision. Loved it. Great. But I really do love when I don't want to run like a crew for moving picture. I'm just not interested in that. But if I have the option to make money on the road as an AC or a camera operator on a production crew at this point, or have my stills camera and photograph, like I was saying, family, wedding, local, that's what I want to do now. And that's what I'm going to focus on. I'll still take a gig if one comes up in the next few months and things are where they're at with the studio I'm working on building and everything's running smoothly, then I'll go jump away for like 2 weeks. But I want to minimize that. Like I looked at my like hotel app thing, and like last year, I think it was like 200 nights or something. And then it was like, yeah, it's just, I'm very blessed and thankful for having those opportunities, but it just kicks your ass after a while, man. And it's exhausting. It really is. 12-hour day is the average for production, at least in the reality world. Get union, they get 10-hour days because, they're strong. And if I wasn't in such a small town, I'd be a part of it. But it's just exhausting. 60 hours is like the minimum for a week usually. And you're living out of a hotel. And so it just really just wears down on you after a while.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially when you have a young family, it's difficult to be away for so long.
Like I'm working on this studio right now, and I'll tell him I'm going to work, which right now is just helping my business partner build the thing. But he'll be like, are you going on a plane going? And I have to be like, no, dude, it's okay. I don't have to get on a plane. I'm just driving 30 minutes down the road. I'll be back tonight. So to put you to bed.
So that you think is what you want to do in the future. Have your own studio and do family and portrait work. Yeah. And it's talking about portraits. I like the Astro portraits that you're
doing. Oh, thank you.
Yeah. And walk me through that. How do you do that?
When I first started working on the process, like the first few, it was the very first one where I'm holding the lantern. If you saw that video, that was just a long exposure. And then I used the lantern light and shot a shorter exposure and then just blended the two. So two images in Photoshop. And then once I started getting into flash photography, I was like, I would much rather just do this shit in camera. I hate sitting at my computer. The less time I can sit at this stupid thing, except for this is cool. I like sitting right now. But like, I love editing and stuff, but the less I can do that and the more I can be out shooting, the happier I am. So it's like, there's got to be a way to just light it and do all that at the same time. So basically what you do, have basic star photography settings. You got like a 14 millimeter, you got like a 30-second exposure. For me, I'm at a 5D4, so ISO 3200. If there's anyone watching, all you kids with your A7Ss and all the crazy stuff it does, you can do 12,800 and that's awesome that you can do this too and actually have a shorter exposure time. But so ISO 3200, and then you just open your thing all the way, f-stop. So I think mine's like a 2.8, just go as much as you can. And then you set the shot, get your focus or get your subject in there, shine a flashlight on them, hit their focus. And then you bring in a key light. You can do it with a speed light or you can do it with a strobe. I just started doing it with a strobe. The last one I did with my cousin was on a strobe. Just set that up, just basic portrait lighting, 45-degree angle or whatever type of lighting you want to do. And when you pop the shutter at that 30-second mark, you just wait and you do what's called second curtain flash. So you shoot your flash at the absolute last second. And so that'll imprint that person in the image. So you're drawing all that information from the stars, get all that. And then at the very last second, I usually try to put my subject like in front of something fairly black or at least deep shadows. So that way they may have some motion and shit, but it's not really going to matter because you have no light on them anyway. You got them in the dark. So once that flash goes off at that very last millisecond before 30 seconds is over, it freeze frames them and stops them right there. And that's how you get just whatever their pose is at that moment. So they have to be still enough. Yeah. Luckily, figuring out that second curtain, because I was doing it the other way to begin with, where I would just fire it off at the beginning because I didn't have triggers to do second curtain, all that other stuff.
Right.
And so did that at first, but then I would see the motion a little bit. So it had to be really still. And then finally, like even then, that was, I think, back when I had to do bulb to start with because that was the only way I could do it with my trigger. So the couple of me, I'm like sitting there and that trigger's somewhere in my pocket and I would have to hit it,
Right.
be still, and then estimate the time and count in my head, like 1, 2, 3. And then right before I hit 30, I'd have to pop the flash. And then now I have all the kinks worked out where the different triggers communicate with themselves in such a way to.
So yeah, it looked interesting. I haven't tried it on dance photography, where you can capture that, where you have the motion and then the dance look really interesting.
Yeah, I love long exposures, man. There's just so much fun stuff you can do with them, and it's a fun type of photography.
Yeah, and I also looked at your fine art feed, Joshua. I like that because, like you, I don't stick to one genre. I keep experimenting. And that's probably one of the reasons my Instagram has never grown.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. People want consistency. They want the same over and over.
Yeah.
Or the same style or subject or whatever.
Well, I like the variety. It's probably why I like doing the podcast as well. You need to try a lot of these genres. But having said that, how is the challenge of doing people in terms of wedding portraits and family as compared to doing landscape or astro or long exposure, or even compared to your reality TV and your crew-based work?
So I guess the method that I used to shoot that is very based in my camera operating to begin with, on the fly. And I like posing in such a way where I find your mark, I like your mark, and then I just try to just give a prompt and just have fun with it. So whether that's running to kid and screaming and having them give me that true just them moment of just being goofy and the funny kid they are, or having a family just play. I love shooting at parks because you really can just be like, no, we're all kids here. It's okay. They're kids. We're all kids here. Let's go play. And you get them on a swing and stuff like that. And then I just bring in the lighting techniques that I've learned from all the shows and stuff like that. A very basic setup. Just do a strobe with the giant softbox and just hit them from the side. Every now and then add a backlight. I usually try to just make the sun my backlight, and that way it keeps it fluid and I can move and dance with whatever the family's doing.
Yeah. So I think the thing that I find challenging is whenever I shoot people is they freeze, right? It's interacting with them is key. That's where I think your personality comes through.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that, man. Yeah, I try to really connect with them. And if it is just standard portraits and even that to get rid of the stiffness, if I'm going to shoot somebody, I'm not taking your picture for at least 15, 20 minutes. I want to get to know you. I want to talk to you. I want to understand, what do you love about your face? What's your favorite part of your face? Oh, you love your nose? That's awesome. I love your nose too. That's what we're going to focus on. Like that. Okay, we can work with it. And whatever those things are. Never asked anybody what they don't like about themselves. I just asked them, what do you love about yourself? What is your facial part of your facial feature or your body or whatever? And in that way, I can connect and have them relaxed and understand that, no, this is my job. My job is to show the beauty that you see in yourself and show the beauty that I see. And so just try my best to just don't have to rush into anything. Let's get comfortable and let's truly make this worth your time to have. This is why you're not using your phone right now. This is why you're hiring somebody to do this.
In a small town like Milton, Florida, is that sort of the right place to have your business, or are you looking at the entire state of Florida as your market?
Milton and Pensacola is a pretty large city. More and more people are moving here. I have plenty of connections I can make in my local market and local area. And then obviously if someone eventually reaches out and would like something further in Florida, I love the idea of a couple years down the road, if a wedding wanted to go somewhere outside of my area, I'd be interested in that. But for right now, I know where I'm supposed to be is home, and I'm supposed to tend to my crops here and focus on my roots and strengthen them. And part of that is strengthening them into the community surrounding me and the city adjacent to me.
Right.
And I've done the city life. I didn't do it long, but I lived in Austin for a couple of years and I loved visiting. I've seen the hustle and bustle. I work with people from LA and New York all the time. Love them to death, but it's just, I don't want to move that fast. Why? I don't move that fast. Pay $3,000 to live in a little box. I'm good. Oh, that's why you got to move that fast. I'm good. I'm okay with, there's a beauty in a small local community. And there's a space there where even if I can go, and I've seen, and I haven't seen everything, obviously, or I'm not that special, but I've seen enough that I know what's important right now, not being home. I grew up here. My son's going to grow up here. We walk to the creek every day. Well, I can't get that in the city. We walk to the creek every day and swim. Like I can't get that in the city.
And awesome. How do you balance your artistic side of you, the things that you want to do as a photographer, and the business side of
the work
you're running? Because what I've seen is when you talk to a lot of photographers, many of the amateur photographers don't want to become commercial photographers because then it stops them from shooting what they want to shoot.
Yeah.
Right.
It's a struggle, man. It really is. There were times being on the road that I'd come home and I wouldn't even look at my camera. Like I would obviously document our lives and special moments. So I just used my phone, and it's very difficult. There's times where I don't want to pick up a camera, especially when I'm inundated with that kind of work. But since this last run that I had on the last gig where I was out of town for 3 or 4 weeks, which was end of April, I went to a few like week-long jobs after that. But now that I'm back, this is my time where I've really just started picking up the camera and loving it again and allowing myself to do that. My wife won't let me leave the house without a camera in my car now. You're going to go out, there's going to be a crazy lightning storm. It happens every freaking time, and you're not going to have your camera, and you can come home pissed, even though you're working on doing everything else you need to do work-wise. So it's really helped having her push me and be like, you need to get back to loving this again. And I work really hard, but anytime I have any opportunity now to see something that I just want to document, I just do it. I've stopped fighting myself with it. And so even the other day, I saw some bees hanging out in the flower bush right in front of my house. And I'm hanging out with you. I'm doing it. Like this doesn't have to make me any money. Because you get like that when you turn anything with the visual arts into your career, all of a sudden everything has a dollar sign attached to it. And that's been a habit I've been really focusing on breaking with myself. No, just pick it up because those bees are pretty and they're pollinating the earth, and that's really cool. So you might as well just go watch that for a little bit just for yourself and capture it because you want to, and put that out there. And doesn't matter if it gets me a job. I don't give a shit. I did it because I love this art form, and I just wanted to do that for myself. So that's where I'm at right now, is focusing on that energy and focusing on just shooting things I love. As I bear down, and I've been working on the website and doing SEO and sanding drywall at the studio that me and my buddy are putting together. Like, we built the whole wall that's in the back and just got done sanding. You put in the trim. You don't want to trust me to try to put in trim because it's going to come out all janky. Sanding, and now we got to paint. It's almost done, probably like 2 more weeks and it should be up and running. But even with doing all of those things, I'm still business minded and I'm working. I'm going to take that time for myself. Especially if there's a lightning storm and it's a perfect time for that where I live. That's one of my favorite things to document. I'm going to have a camera on me and I'm going to go shoot that for fun because that's just fun.
Sounds good, exciting. And do you think you've evolved and created your own style at this point, or you still in the process of creating that Shelton look?
Going back to how you were saying we're all over the place, like I just shoot so many different things. For my portraiture for family, I definitely have a style. It's definitely there, and I think you can see it. I love moody, very soft light into hard shadows with the sun backlight kicking through on them. And I really just love kind of the focus I've had on making that look a certain way. But Kevin Smith, one of my favorite directors, once said that one of the best compliments he got or something was he was a director with no style. I'm okay with that. Every photograph I take takes a different focus or move. So like capturing someone with the stars, I don't know how I can necessarily make that look like something else I've shot that's in the daytime and stuff like that. But I don't know. I don't know if that answers your question. I have no idea, dude.
Yeah, fair answer actually, because many a time photographers get locked into a style and they're known for that certain style, and people don't recognize them if they do something different.
Yeah, it's definitely true. And it's really cool. I love seeing people that can have the mind to have a style and stick to it and do something where it's like a culmination of work where it's like really is like digging into whatever it is, if it's like people's faces and however they're lighting it, whatever they're doing, where it really becomes, oh, that's a such and such look. Joel Grimes, I don't know if you've ever seen his work. Yeah. Obviously, yeah. Just that is incredible. And that's so cool. It has that just contoury, I don't even know, a fucking portrait when you see it by him.
Yeah.
And so that's incredible. I wish I could do that. I don't probably never.
Yeah, but if you look at Picasso, for example, he had a style, but he also had phases. So where he had a phase where his paintings would look a certain way, and they called it, cubism and whatever. So I would much rather have phases rather than a style. That's my personal opinion.
Yeah, I like that, dude. Yeah, I am in the exact same camp.
So I like having phases. So that keeps that variety and keeps me interested as well. So.
Oh, absolutely. That's my thing. I have way too much of an ADHD brain to just, I can't stay focused on something for that. The camera itself, absolutely, but whatever the subject is, and that's also why I'm home and coming home. So I was like, good at being a hired gun. You can go out, good at being a pirate. That's fun. Understood how to make a nest egg here. Now let's actually sit on that nest and develop and watch the chick grow.
Great. And is that your future plan? Like, where do you see yourself growing from here?
More local work. If I'm on the road, it's not for the crazy lengths of time that I was. But I like the idea of a wedding. You only get married for a day. It's not a long trip. So right now in the immediate future, getting the studio done, starting to attract the clients here and stuff like that and pull my little part of the market share. And then just slowly develop and build. And hopefully, I would like within 5 to 10 years to have gotten a studio spot that has much nicer natural lighting. And have just slowly built my studio and have a nice space where I can photograph people and families and stuff like that.
Before we close the conversation, what will you say to your younger self? You're not old, but before you started on this journey, what are the things you would have done differently?
I don't know if I would have done anything differently. There are definitely things I could have done better, but that was more in my personal life. So I would definitely tell myself to not be so angry and to have the childhood stuff, just, it's okay. But in my professional life, honestly, the way everything happened for me, I'm happy with it. Every thing that's changed from shooting sports in college to living in Austin and doing the starving artist thing and meeting my wife and then living in a car for 4 months just to go take pictures. And then from there coming here and then getting into television and then traveling and all that stuff. It all really worked out. And I'm thankful, and I don't think I would have changed anything for myself. If I was going to talk to someone that was just starting their journey that was younger, I would probably say skip college. If you're going to use a camera, unless you're going to go to one of the highest film schools or whatever that there is, like the absolute, whatever the tippy top for university is nowadays, unless you're going to do that, just skip school and just go to the library, get yourself some photography books, study old work of old photographers, really learn more about the craft and what it was before everybody had a camera, and find your path. Whether that's, if you're going to do family stuff, then immediately start trying to book families, make that your focus. You want to do weddings, same thing. You want to do TV, go PA. For me, I'm happy it worked out how it did, because I started PAing in a small town and it was just luck, and then got dragged onto the road. Get your ass to a big city and go PA for a while and meet people and get your connections going and stuff like that. That would be my biggest advice, would be that. And gear is cool, but it really doesn't matter as much as I think it does. Obviously, if you're like a nature photographer shooting like lions and shit or whatever, yeah, you need the biggest, sharpest, longest glass you can possibly get. But other than that, if you're just trying to, whatever it is you're wanting to document to start with, don't freak out and feel like you have to have some certain piece of gear to get started. The wand doesn't make the magician. That'd be the other thing I would tell myself.
Awesome. Great advice, Joshua. Thanks for that. And thanks for coming on the show. It was great chatting with you. Thank you so much for tuning in to this enriching episode of Photo Country. It was truly inspiring to hear about Joshua Shelton's journey, his passion for photography, and his heartfelt insights into balancing work and family. If you enjoyed today's conversation and want to see more of Joshua's work, be sure to follow him online and check out his latest projects, including his Hello Strangers series. And as always, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and leave a review for our podcast. Your support helps us bring you more incredible stories from photographers around the world. Until next time, keep capturing those beautiful moments. This is Rajeev signing off.